Good. All right, well, good evening. Hope everybody's doing all right this evening. And, well, if you're here, you're better than what you could be. A bad day in the church house is better than a good day in the hospital. Amen. So, very thankful for the chance to be here. We'll go ahead and take up some prayer objects and update our prayer list, whatever anybody that's keeping one. And then we'll get into Q&A. Anybody that's got some questions. I've had a few people say that they had some questions and we're saving them. So I've also been informed that we've got some that are too bashful to ask. And it ain't. Did he give you them books? Yeah. Okay. I hope those are helpful. They do talk a lot about the history behind it. But I've also got a full printout, and it's like 15, 20 pages, and it shows the differences. Like it'll show this scripture, and this is what changes, and in this book is what, or in these Bibles are the ones that have the changes, and it's pretty interesting stuff. That's why he was asking me about it. I said, man, that ain't a question you can answer in just one setting. Matter of fact, when I was in Bible school down in Pensacola, they dedicated an entire semester just to talking about the differences in the versions of the Bible, and it was crazy. There's a lot of differences. But anyway, okay. Do we have anything we need to remember tonight? Objects of prayer.
You're praying for Peyton Bryson because he's still going down.
Is he?
Yeah, and they don't want to give up. That poor little fellow looks so bad in the hospital bed, and I guess they're having to feed him now because he can't keep his head.
All right. Remember that.
I need everybody's prayers, please, for my cousin Dubert George. He's over in Mission Hospital. His brother found him laying on the floor unconscious. I had to fly him out to Mission Sunday right after church.
Okay.
Like, wow. Don't know what's wrong. His blood pressure's fine. Got to take him back and forth to surgery. So, but other than that, he's doing good.
All right. Yeah, that does sound better.
Out of the woods yet, though.
All right. Definitely.
Mama,
Yeah.
they think it's the flu, but she's been down for a week already, and now she's got this. It's just not.
Yeah. My mama. Yeah, my little mama. She is not doing well right now. She is really having it rough. She got up and I was putting wood on their front porch the other day, and she heard me. She knew what I was doing, and she still got up and come to the door and said, I just wanted to see what you was doing, and then nearly fell out the door into my arms because she just so dizzy she couldn't stand up. So
Her sugar.
and then she said her sugar dropped to 56. I don't know. Some of y'all that have to deal with that, I don't know if that's...
You want it to be between 80 and 100.
Right, yeah, I know that's average. I mean, I even know you can get it to like 113 after a meal, and that's kind of normal, but 56, I was like, man, that's kind of like, we're creeping up on.
It can drop way faster too. Because you can't, when you eat something, you have to digest it for it to get your system.
Right.
You're drinking juice and, yeah.
Well, that's what she said
It
is...
can make you feel really bad.
Okay. Well, that's what she said. She's like a wrung out dish rag. She just has nothing. So, all right.
And you shake on the inside, so you want to eat until you stop shaking. So then you're over 200 because you want to feel better.
Man, that's like a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it is.
Man, that's awful. I'm glad I'm average sweet. Were you still awake?
I was barely making. I was in the kitchen and I was trying to get to the living room, and I was just staggered.
My goodness.
Mine wouldn't read
Go ahead and get it.
on the machine. I was pregnant with that,
Wow.
and my sister
My sister helped with that, or I don't know that either.
Bless your heart. Hero.
No, she keeps
I
telling
need
me
a hero.
that she brought a Dr. Pepper, because I don't remember any of it, but she brought a Dr. Pepper, and she wanted me to drink it. She said, you gotta drink it for your baby. And Tim said I'd take a little sip, and she said she'd wait a few minutes, and he'd say, you gotta drink this for your baby. And she said, I'd take a sip. But it took forever to get it. He checked it the first time it was funny, checked it again, and it wouldn't register. But he couldn't
Good
get it.
Lord. Wow. Goodness gracious.
So, yeah,
Here.
I remember her.
Here, come here, sit down. All right. Remember Brother Perry Holden? I talked to him. He called me today, and the doctors came in and did an evaluation on his wife, Miss Pat, and they're giving her 6 months or less. And she's not well. He's struggling. I mean, you can tell it's on his mind. So anyway, let's really lift them up. Hey, go sit down. Go sit down. Get up here and sit down. But yeah, let's remember Brother Perry and his wife, Miss Pat. Anybody else?
Now seen Brother Laban today.
Did you?
His water's all froze, his house busted all over.
Oh Lord.
Something wrong with his throat, he can't hardly talk. He said, you tell that preacher I said to behave.
Surprised he didn't tell you. Tell that preacher he needs to get saved or something. That's typically what he'll say. Is he? Was he cutting hair? Was that man alive? And he's doing it out of his house now, ain't he? Yeah. So. Nope. Go sit down. All right. Anybody else?
Remember your missions trip you got coming up this year?
Yeah. If y'all would, I got the itinerary for that. Woo, that's gonna be fun. What?
Just we were talking about it today.
Yeah. They gave Miss Carla sent me the itinerary of what the plan was, and the more I read it, the bigger my eyes got. Then underneath it, she put, "Any changes, I'll let you know." I'm sitting here going, "You ain't got room to change nothing." But Tuesday, now I'm flying in on the 17th. That's a Monday. Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. evangelism and visitation at Mount Sinai Church. From 3:30 to 8 o'clock, it's visitation and then revival meeting at Spring of Life Church in San Ramon. That's just Tuesday. Wednesday at 7 a.m., we start the pastoral conference and go from 7 to 11, stop and eat lunch, have a break, and then at 4 p.m. start revival and go to 8 p.m. with visitation and preaching in Christway Church in Los Rincones. Then on Thursday at 7 a.m. we resume pastoral conference, go to 11, eat lunch, and then at 6 p.m. have revival and a baby dedication at Mount Carmel. And then Friday at 7 a.m. We finish up the pastoral conference, go from 7 to 11, and then visitation in the afternoon, and then at 5 o'clock go to, from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, evangelism, visiting, and preaching in Jesus Christ the Rock Church in San Jose de la Landa. So that's
Where you sleeping?
sometime in there. But anyway, so that's the itinerary for the trip in March. So anyway, yeah, please help me pray about that, and I want that trip to be a blessing and a help to them folks. So, all right, somebody else before we.
Let's remember my cousin,
Which one?
Scotty.
Scotty. Okay.
Remember those families in Washington, D.C., or not in Washington, D.C., from all over the world, I guess, that had people on that plane that crashed.
Yeah.
They're, no survivors is what it was.
Yeah.
Killed all of them.
Yeah.
It's a lot of families there.
Yep.
Did it kill them? I mean, on both.
I don't know about the other.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hadn't heard, I just know.
He killed all of them that was in the helicopter in the air.
Go sit down.
Lost in the sea.
I don't see how he can do it, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, who's this person? Who's that person? What did he say? And he'll even have to pause it just to repeat what he's telling me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Whacked his
Right.
head.
Lord of mercy. You sure you ain't a daughter? Much as you drama queen? Hush, hush now. All right. Anybody else before my son drives us crazy? All right. You going? You going? All right, go on.
Getting to be a big boy, ain't he?
A big something. All right. I will ask if y'all will remember my little bride. She sure has been carrying a lot the last few months, especially with me being as busy as I have. So y'all remember her. She would never ask it for herself, so I'm asking it for her. I try to pray that the Lord take any hours of sleep that I have that she needs and give them to her. I'll gladly stay awake so that she gets the rest she needs to be able to do what she does. She got the hardest job of anybody in regards to what my family does and what we have to do. I think she's got the hardest job out of anybody. And so I commend all you ladies that do that and have done that. I commend you, tip my hat to you, and all the rest. It takes somebody very special and godly to be able to put up with and love still and do the things that you guys do. So God bless you, and we appreciate you so much. It's like the old guy said, without women, we'd just be a bunch of, you know. All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll get into Q&A. Anybody want to start it off? Don't have one.
I got one, but
All right.
in 2 Chronicles chapter 9, verse 4, it says, "And the meat of his table," this is Solomon and the Queen of Sheba coming to visit,
Okay.
"and the sitting of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, his cupbearers also, and their apparel, and his ascent by which he went up into the house of the Lord." My question, there was no more spirit in her. What does they mean by that?
Well, it's exact. When she saw everything, cause see, she's going based off of what she's been told,
Right.
and it's almost like the first impression that you get doesn't ever tell the whole story. When I say that, what I mean is by word of mouth. I mean, they say you never get a second chance at a first impression. Well, this woman's first impression of Solomon was only what she had been told in her country. When she actually come to the nation, when she came to Israel and traveled to Israel and actually saw, then she tells him in the next verse, I mean, she said, verse 5, "And she said to the king, It was a true report which I heard in my own land of thine acts and of thy wisdom. Howbeit, I believed not their words until I came." And that's why she said, it says there was no more spirit, because everything that she thought, there's no way it can be that way. There's no way it's like that. And then when she gets there and realizes it's not only what she heard, but it's what she heard and more, then there's no more spirit left. She's exasperated. It's like it overwhelmed her at the magnitude of what everything she had been told how it had been exceeded. And she goes on to say, in verse 6 there, it says, "I believed not their words until I came, and mine eyes had seen it. And behold, the one half of the greatness of thy wisdom was not told me, for thou exceedest the fame that I heard." So that's basically what she's saying. It's just everything that I thought I knew, I found out I didn't. It was more than that. And so it was a sheer exasperation. That's why spirit's lowercase, because it's a human spirit. The human spirit's the one that doubts.
Right.
The capital S spirit within the believer never doubts what the Lord does. In fact, that's the only thing that you've got inside you to confirm that what God is showing you and telling you is of God. If you didn't have the Holy Spirit inside of you, you would have no way to delineate whether or not what you're seeing or hearing is of God. So when he says when she says my spirit, when she says there was no more spirit in her, it's the incapability of mankind's finite mind to wrap around the magnitude of what God is capable of.
So in a way, that kind of a type picture of how we think of heaven right now. In a way, a type picture.
Yeah, because Paul said the half has never been told. Eye hath not seen, neither ear heard, neither into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for them that love him. So yeah, everything that you think heaven is gonna be is probably a fraction of what it actually is.
There'll be no more spirit in us.
No, there really won't be, because you don't go to heaven unless you're raptured out or dead.
That's right.
So anyway, that's actually a good question though. That's a really good question. All right, somebody else. It don't have to be something you've studied on. It could just be a random thought, just something that crossed your mind.
In Matthew 17, verse 24 down to 26, when he asked Peter, do you get the tribute of strangers or of the children? Is it both of them that paid, or are the children free, he said?
Yeah, it's basically what you're dealing with here is you're dealing with, okay, so, yeah, okay, 24, they were come to Capernaum, they received tribute money. They that received tribute came to Peter and said, doth your master pay tribute? Yes. And then what thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children or of strangers? Peter saith unto him, of strangers. Jesus saith unto him, then are the children free. And it's not just, and he says, of whom do the kings of the earth take? So it's not a Jewish exclusive there. So he's saying it's not exclusive just to Jews. Most of the time you read children and strangers, it's differentiating between the Jews or the children and the strangers or Gentiles. But in this case, he's talking about the kings of the earth. So it could be any. So a king is not going to receive tribute of his own children.
Just like we have to
Right.
pay taxes.
Well, I mean, yeah, in that sense, but it's also more than that. I mean, it's like, well, here's a perfect example. If the day ever comes when the Lord opens the door for me and Heather to ever build a house or have a house or anything like that, I'm going to have to pay somebody to bring whatever house, if I buy a modular or if I buy double wide or single wide or whatever, and I'm going to have to pay somebody, number one, to manufacture it, and then number two, to bring it, and then number three, set it up. But I've got to have a foundation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to have to pay nobody to do that because my daddy's a concrete guy.
Yeah.
And he's not going to make me pay to put a foundation in. It's in that, that's the sense that they're talking about. Does a king receive tribute of his children or of strangers? Well, of strangers. Well, then the children are free. And it's basically kind of, it's and Peter saith unto him, of strangers, that's verse 26, then Jesus saith unto him, then are the children free, notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea and cast a hook. Now, again, you got to take the time frame that you're in right there. Christ hasn't died yet. Calvary has not taken place. So the Lord's still like, the children are free, but so that we keep our testimony, this is what we're going to do. So it's the same, and they'd be like, and again, you could use the same example as, I could be like, okay, well, if my dad needed work and I needed a house built, then I'd be like, for my testimony's sake, I'm going to pay for this foundation, so that nobody looks around and says, Well, man, what kind of son is he? His dad's hurting for work and needs some income, and here he is wanting to build a house. You'd think he'd at least pay his dad for the work that he's doing so that his dad could make a living. So you do it for it's a mostly for a testimony's sake, but that's what he's referring to there. Thou shalt, and then he tells him to go down and catch a fish, and in the fish's mouth he'll take a piece of money. And of course, most rednecks read that, and the first place they go is to the lake. They say, "See, I can't get my tithe unless I go to fish." So, yeah, that's right. That's what I'm gonna tell Heather this summer. Whenever the temperature gets up and I get ready, she's going, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to get our tithe money." One of them fish has got to have a quarter in its mouth.
That was Peter, he says, I go fishing.
I go fishing. So, yeah. All right. Somebody else?
You forgot him at